The founder and leader of the Doom Patrol is a complicated man with quite a backstory. But for the purposes of this video, we are going to focus primarily on the iteration of the Chief that the show focuses on, and his comic background and important points. Niles has been around for a long time, and some elements of his backstory and motivations have been drastically changed throughout his history, so we are going to kind of trim the fat, so to speak. That being said, today's video is on the leader of the Doom Patrol, the Chief, Niles Caulder. But first, if you are following along with our coverage of Doom Patrol Season 2, then you already know that we have a few giveaways coming your way. The first of which is multiple copies of Doom Patrol Volume 1 by Grant Morrison. To enter the giveaway, just leave a comment below and follow us on Twitter, specifically our personal accounts, Nick and Garrick. The links for our personal Twitter pages are below, just follow us on there, and that's it. We'll pick a few winners periodically as new episodes come out and contact the winners to claim their prize. Niles Caulder made his first appearance in My Greatest Adventure 80 and started his career in comics as a man dedicated to showing the world that people with disadvantages could become as valuable to society as able-bodied people. Niles was a genius, and through that genius he was able to create inventions that brought him incredible wealth. He used that wealth to assemble a team of outcasts who he named the Doom Patrol. The Doom Patrol is a similar concept to the X-Men, however, instead of the parallels to civil rights, the Doom Patrol focused on general prejudice. Niles assembled a team of the following heroes to make up his original Doom Patrol. First was Cliff Steele, who you can learn about in our video for Robot Man, but the short and sweet is that he was a young and brash race car driver who, after a horrific accident, had his brain implanted into the body of a robot. Next up is Larry Trainor, or the Negative Man, a fighter pilot for the US Air Force who was accidentally possessed by the negative spirit during a test run for an experimental new aircraft. The last original member was Rita Farr, who was a spoiled actress of the stage and screen. While shooting a movie in Africa, she was exposed to volcanic gases that caused her body to be able to expand and contract like rubber. Niles helped rehabilitate these people and train them to master themselves and their new abilities, similar to Professor X from the aforementioned X-Men. In fact, there is a pretty interesting fact. The Doom Patrol debuted just a few months before the X-Men, so they're actually kind of the original weirdo superhero team. So once Niles turned these members into the Doom Patrol, and they became a fighting force for good, the Doom Patrol had many adventures, but as time progressed, their series lost popularity, and eventually the entire team was killed off in the final issue of their run in Doom Patrol 121. The entire team died, sacrificing themselves to save the small fishing village of Codsville, Maine. However, after the events of Crisis of Infinite Earths, the Doom Patrol was resurrected by Paul Kupperberg and Grant Morrison. Paul began his original run and assembled a new Doom Patrol, eventually handing the reins over to Grant Morrison. Morrison reimagined Niles Caulder as a cold, detached scientist. The majority of his version of Niles Caulder's backstory is told throughout issue 57 of that Doom Patrol run. We learn that Niles had always been a gifted scientist throughout his life, but he had grown up with an unhealthy obsession with creating life. His gifted brain had led him down a rabbit hole of scientific experiments where he tried anything from resurrecting the dead to regenerating dead tissue. His work led to him being discovered by General Immortus, a man who was a villain associated with the original Doom Patrol for a long time, but was also their mysterious benefactor. General Immortus tasked Niles with creating a new version of a synthetic chemical he had discovered that had been keeping him alive for thousands of years. Niles refused, and in exchange, Immortus implanted a bomb in his chest. Niles eventually killed Immortus, and he used his personal robot helper RA-2 to remove the bomb implanted in his chest. However, the operation caused him to lose the functionality of his legs. This turn of events led Niles to become obsessed with something he refers to as the catastrophic curve. Catastrophe theory studies and classifies phenomena characterized by sudden shifts in behavior arising from small changes in circumstances. And essentially, Niles had started tinkering with people's lives by causing massive catastrophes. The next part of the video is a very large spoiler for Season 1, so if you have not yet finished it, maybe come back after. But for everyone else, it's not a huge revelation. We eventually learn that Niles Caulder was actually the person directly responsible for the tragedy that befell all of the main characters within the Doom Patrol. He was directly involved in the crash of Cliff Steele's car, he sabotaged Larry Trainor's plane, he planted the gases that caused Rita to transform. All of the original Doom Patrol members were quote-unquote gifted their abilities due to Niles' obsession with the changes that can be caused if catastrophe was introduced into one's life. He becomes obsessed with completing this task on a global scale and builds a think tank filled with nanomachines. His goal is to shockingly create a nanomachine bomb that, when detonated, will cause a global catastrophe in order to force humanity to evolve past the problems that plague it today. This would effectively kill half of the world's population and replace the other half with semi-mutated humans like the Doom Patrol. Joshua Clay, a former member of the Doom Patrol who went by the name Tempest, had been working with him as a medical advisor, eventually uncovers Niles' plan and is killed by Niles. Joshua's body is discovered by Robot Man. He confronts Niles, who promptly immobilizes Cliff and begins a very, very long monologue. Like, literally, the entire issue is Niles explaining his life history and his goals. However, in a shocking twist at the end of his explanation, an incredibly powerful being known as the Candlemaker rips off Niles' head, killing him. Directly after killing the Chief, Candlemaker also rips out the brain of Robot Man, killing him as well. For more information on the Candlemaker, check out his video, but we're gonna skip ahead a bit. Despite suffering from a nasty case of getting his head ripped off, the Chief does not die. His head is found by Dorothy and William Magnus, aka Doc Magnus, and is implanted into a robot body where he continues to live with an incredible remorse for being a giant douche. And that's pretty much it for the origins of Niles Caulder and, kind of the Doom Patrol. We have more videos on the Doom Patrol coming, and some that we have made in the past, so be sure to check those out. We also have a bunch of other videos coming out for Umbrella Academy Season 2, so be on the lookout for those as well. Remember to like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Follow us on Twitter to enter into the giveaway, and remember the motto, it's the Chief over everything, and I'll see you guys next time.